Some more developer support for the Identity Manager. I think one of the most important notes is that with version 8 in the system library, first time all the project related files, that means all script files, are completely excluded of the auto update support. That means no script file will be overwritten by the database. Remember, in the past, sometimes it could happen that one of these project files, the customer VB or system VB or whatever, was just overwritten with the help of the auto update. At the end, the problem was not that much in the past versions because there was then a backup file written as well. But now this is completely gone. Instead of that, if you need these files from the database or recreated or updated with the stuff from the database, you can run the create system library files wizard. That's the one that is always to run in an initial installation, for example, to get the content downloaded. And that got some more switches so that you now, in addition to the custom scripts, as well can download the system scripts. With that, it could never happen that something overwrites your script code. The only reason if that happens, it's an action you just triggered on your own. Again, new in Designer, a new menu structure underneath of base data. I'm in the base data section. In the past, we had a super huge list like it looks here, but now we sorted the whole thing a little bit. There is the general structure, which contains stuff like the database and the time trace databases, change label management, all that stuff. We have as well a security section. We saw them in some previous videos just talking about security and password policies. We do have now an installation section where we find the job services and the server functions and all of that stuff. We have a localization section where we find the translation things. And last but not least, there's an advanced section where we find the other things like, for example, customizers and predefined SQL, and all of these filters might be of interest as well. The whole thing looks now, if you just open that base data section, much simpler than before. But this is the disadvantage of this. You have now to step into these different main menus just to reach the others. On the other side, it should now be easier to find things without using the search function in these boxes. In the past, as you can remember, in System Debugger, it was hard to use template scripts. Especially, it was only possible to use them. That means to test them there, but not to edit them and to upload them back to the database. This is in the meantime completely different. With version 8, first time there is something implemented that allows to convert these dollar notations used in Designer, in templates or scripts written in Designer, just to reference to columns, to download these references now in a proper way back to scripts so that they can easily be identified and later on be reconstructed uploading these files. Therefore, we are using a specific type of function. We are using getTriggerValue instead of getValue, which will be in the normal way. And getTriggerValue at the end will automatically lead to a dollar notation later on in the code. Doing so, and together with that, exists as well an overview that allows us easily in each template to see all the related columns used in a template and will be as well trigger the template. Remember, all dollar notations in a template always as well, if they get upgraded or if they get just changed, trigger the recalculation of the specific template where they are used. And with that functionality we are talking about, both it's now possible on the one hand side to edit templates in the system library and to upload them, and on the other hand side in a nice overview form that shows all of these fields in one picture. The second feature, that means to show that just sorted on one form, it's pretty nice, especially if you have to evaluate a script that is more than 1 or 2 pages long. Another short but very helpful one, as you can see in Designer, there is my database, and in the database there is the main database. And I can configure on the main database a lot of things, but one of these things, it's the status bar color. And the status bar color, it's typically differently chosen for the different system types. So for example, the test system will have a completely different color than the development system, than the production system. And as you can see, for my development system here, I choose a red color for the status bar. You can see that on the status bar as well. This is not a new feature. We know that from some other versions as well. And these status bars up to today was just seen in Designer, for example, or as well in the manager in the status bar, or for example, as well in the object browser. New in version 8 is now that this support did not only exist for the big front ends, it exists now for the wizards as well. As you can see, for example, here on the screen, the database extension, the crypto config, the same way then the compiler, the same way then the software loader, the same way then our database transport, and the same way then our data import. All of them show now the new color. There is just one thing to know. Before the color could be shown in the front end, you have to sign into your database. After we had in the past a little bit problems with the SQL IntelliSense implemented in the Identity Manager, we implemented a new upgrade to that control that is used for IntelliSense that will automatically help with tables and other SQL keywords in a very enhanced way to the old control. In our VB.NET control, we integrated the session variable in a way that configuration parameters can now be queried just using the session variable instead of the old connection variable we have used before. Last but not least, a new grid was implemented in Designer and object browsers, especially to forms where the content gets built out of SQL. The whole thing renders much faster than before, and it allows to show more than 64,000 characters, which was a limit of the old world. Additionally to that, it allows to copy as well the SQL comparison into a clipboard and CSV export.